Oh, good morning, everybody. Here we are at long last. It is Friday and we are off and running. So let's see what we have today. So let's start by pulling up Poifin, take a look at the market as a whole. Some results. Good morning, Hare. How are you doing? Hopefully that's not too loud. Can you guys hear the music? Is today one of the days where the music can be heard or no? Hopefully you can. All right. Interesting. This is the first morning this week I've woken up to red. Financials, the banks, industrials, materials, energy. Everything else is down. Global markets down. So let's see what's going on. Yeah, I saw that. I've got that queued up and ready to read. Um, I know we've been watching GameStop. I've been excited to see what it's going to do, so I'm going to take a look at that in some depth today. All right, let's get started here with GameStop. AAL is flying, huh? Let's see about that. You know, sometimes I'm baffled about how shipments work. So here's something I ordered back in May, okay? Started in New Jersey, okay? Went to New York, went back to New Jersey, went to New York, went back to New Jersey, and they flew it to San Francisco. Now it's in California, and it's supposed to be coming here. I'm literally it's like an 8-hour drive from New Jersey, and they flew it to San Francisco. I You're going the wrong way, boys. You're going the wrong way. All right. So GameStop dropped. I guess so. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. All right, so we got preliminary results from GameStop here. So let's go down this. Yikes. I mean, we're in Canada. We don't have any riots. Unless there's a hockey game. Okay, so on March 22nd, the company temporarily closed all of its US locations, with approximately 65% of locations conducting curbside pickup. During the final 6 weeks of the fiscal quarter, approximately 10% of the global fleet remained fully open and accessible. Approximately 42% remained open for curbside. Half remained closed. Yikes. It's not even like they stole it off your doorstep. So. Okay. So comparatively, global sales are expected to decrease in the range of 33 to 35% from 1.5 billion. Okay, so I want to chart up because I want to be able to do some math on this at the same time. So give me 2 seconds here. Okay, okay, so they're expecting their sales to decrease 33 to 35. So let's say 35% from 1.5 billion. Okay. So that's 975 million in sales. Cash flow from operations is expected to be approximately 49 million in the negative. That's huge. They saved... And this is some of what I was getting at, right? I'll take a look at Airbus after we get through this, guys. I'll take a look at Boeing after we get through this. I'll take a look at AAL after we get through this. They saved $616 million with this being closed. No, they saved even more. 670 million. Inventory at quarter end is expected to decline by approximately 43%. So they have slightly more inventory reserves, but if they do the same thing that everybody else is doing, they're claiming those as assets. They'll put that under the asset bracket, whatever they're holding. But less inventory. Accounts payable is expected to decrease. So they saved another 245 million there. We've got 570 million cash on hand. So again, guys, earnings estimates on GameStop. The estimate is $1 billion in revenue. They may hit that number. They may hit that number really well. Okay. Still not sweating it. Still okay. Still like GameStop. GME pre-market 426. In any event, this may just mean that I am bound to my original exit of Q4. I was hoping maybe I might be able to get out. I might be able to get out a little bit early, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. Okay, so Boeing. Yeah, they're up 4% pre-market. Goldman says 209 on a buy. I get so concerned about what the FAA is going to say. If FAA doesn't come out and say, yeah, for sure, then it's up 13%. What else? Airbus. They always wanted to shut down a bunch of stores. That's been GameStop's plan for a while, is to shut down stores. So this just helps them speed things up. Right. So MBRX. Blah blah blah. I don't care about its trading. So, I mean, this is all just technical. This is what drives me nuts about these articles. I gotta stop reading these, because, to be honest, guys, this crap drives me nuts. It's all retroactive. Well, this is what happened. Okay, well, don't title your article that you've got insights as to where it's going based off of what's already happened. Give us insights on bio from perspective of here's what's coming up. That's why we feel it's going this way. To say this is what it did yesterday, especially in bio, is nuts. Okay. Stem cell research. That's right. If they do that, they can never be wrong, but they can also never be helpful. Polyneuron pharmaceuticals. It is a Swiss company with an orphan drug designation, so I can't trade that. No orphan drug there for me. Why Captain America? Captain America has always been my favorite. because he stands among guys like Hulk and Thor, but all he is a regular dude, right? Here, so when you consider even Batman, people love to throw out Batman too, right? Batman has more gadgets and gizmos and you name it at the wazoo to help him stay alive and not get killed. Captain America literally has a shield that constantly gets stolen or broken. The dude is just a regular dude. I think that would be a sweet fight, Kingpin and Captain America. But the thing with Captain America and him being a regular dude, he's a regular dude that came from Brooklyn. He grew up on the streets. He grew up impoverished, and he had a desire to be something greater. He's literally an embodiment of the American dream that you can start at the bottom and become something far greater. Um, and so the original Captain America story was he it it wasn't by pure chance that he was selected. There was originally four candidates that were selected to be Captain America, um, and so they ran trials on all of them. And in the final running was a black guy who ran super fast, was the ideal candidate. There was a large, big, kind of burly, uh, racist American, and then there was Steve Rogers. Um, and towards the end of it, it looked like the racist was never going to become Captain America. It looked like Steve was second; he was going to be runner up, and the black man was supposed to become um, Captain America. But then the racist attacked the black guy, broke his leg, and made it impossible for him to become Captain America. So Steve Rogers got the role. Um, and then he spent the rest of his life proving that he was there for it. But this right here, and I don't know how well you can see this, but let me go there. That right there. That right there is near and dear to my heart. This is from the Civil War series of the comic, or the Civil War storyline. Iron Man's not a regular guy, though. You look at Iron Man and his giant freaking suits of armor that always have an answer for everything. He doesn't stand there exposed to the whole world. He stands there hiding behind an armor. And to say that Iron Man is a self glorifying narcissist would be an understatement, right? Whereas Cap doesn't ever want the limelight. He doesn't want to be the guy that's in the center. He doesn't want to be the guy that's the center of attention. He wants to do what's right, and that resonates in a huge way for me. So this idea, it doesn't matter what the press says, doesn't matter what the politicians or the mob say, doesn't matter if the whole country decides that something wrong is something right. The nation was founded on one principle above all else: the requirement that we stand up for what we believe in, no matter what the odds or the consequences. When the mob and the press and the whole world tell you to move, your job is to plant yourself like a tree by the world or by the river of truth and tell the whole world, no, you move. This is this is powerful for me. And I understand that this doesn't resonate with everybody, but this resonates with me in a huge way. That a guy who came from the bottom, who came from tough communities, who came from the depths of Brooklyn in the midst of World War II, rose up to be one of the greatest heroes and icons around the world. Um, he had everything stacked against him, and he rose above it. And he kept his morality and his humility through it. It's a constant reminder for me. So that's the Captain America spiel. So Spider-Man's close, but Spider-Man gets superpowers, right? Like it's a different thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is that struggle for having more power than you know what to do with. Iron Man was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, was afforded every luxury, and did with it what you would expect. He played with it as a toy until he hurt himself, and then and only then did he decide that, oh, maybe he should do something more. But he continues his ego stroking from beginning to end all the way through the comics. There's other geniuses though. There's Reed Richards. Reed Richards is a genius, and he's not a total jerk about it. Reed Richards is smarter than Iron Man, but he's not a total wad about it. Okay. Wow. Unproven COVID test. So this guy just set up a fake testing facility in Seattle, but nobody's going to call him on it. Yeah, his brain is his real power. Those stretchy arm things, that's not much of anything. Um, okay, so Biogene gets approved in China. Prime accent. Okay, so that's a Merck drug. Oh, oh well. Accepts a review for Damas first use supplemental marketing application seeking approval to use over to treat off episodes in Parkinson's patients. You gotta wait till February of next year to hear on this one. So this is not for me. What is this drug? That I didn't even look at what the drug was. First step was, can I trade it? And then once I can trade it, I go back and look. But I can't trade that right now. Not publicly traded. This is the same news. This is what it was. It was to treat hospital-acquired bacterial pneumonia and ventilator-associated bacterial pneumonia. So this is part of the concern with the COVID is that when you've got everybody that's together like this, and then their pulmonary systems are compromised, there's a high risk of by grouping them together in hospitals, you spread this hospital-acquired pneumonia. Um, so we looked at the first one, and that was Merck. Recabrio is also Merc. So the play is Merc and Merc on that one. Synovian. So this is a sublingual. You put it under their tongue, and it's supposed to help with Parkinson's. Japan only stock. Can't trade it. It's one from Switzerland. Can't trade that. Three overlooked biotech stocks: Seattle Genetics, Cytokinetics, Fortress Bio. FBIO. 289 with an upside. This looks comparable to MBRX, but MBRX has like more of an upside. So starting next week, guys, on Seeking Alpha, I will be putting up in the Contributor Center blog posts. Yeah. Anytime I do due diligence on a company and break it down, I'm going to start putting it into blog posts onto Seeking Alpha so that I've got them there and they're recorded that in 12 months down the road when stocks do. Hey, it's the Freedom Seagull. There's actually a Freedom Seagull profile. That is fantastic. That is absolutely amazing. Oh, man. Okay. I don't even know what to do with that. It's too early for that. That's hilarious. For those of you that don't know, Martini tried to draw a. She tried to draw a eagle, an American eagle, and instead ended up drawing a seagull. She didn't realize until afterwards. So we started saying it was time to rock the American seagull out. All right. So DocuSign's probably gonna have a good day today on their earnings. Uh, okay, so this is always a bad sign. Okay, when somebody writes up a copy on their report sample that they want you to take a look at, right? Okay, um, they want you to buy this. So where's the price tag on it? No price tag, but you get $1,000 off, which means it's much more than that. But when they can't spell in the first few sentences, pie chart, run, run. Working Amazon, not there yet. Still working through the stuff from this from my tool. Almost done. Nikola does not have a booming green day when it hits the market. Genus has a fair value of between 60 cents and $1. It's at 668. So, all right. I'm gonna check nickel real quick here, and then we can head over to. Man, it's still not in there, huh? BTIQ. Nothing in there. Okay, so can't use this for the work and Amazon. Oh, Slack partners with Amazon to take on Microsoft Teams. I didn't know that Microsoft Teams was a big deal. It's a neat headline, but Slack has already been built on AWS. Let's pre-order a Nikola truck. No, I'm not even gonna meme on that. Yeah, I mean it. Pre-market, it's kind of split. It's not sure of itself. Spy is up $3 pre-market. Okay, so ACRX at 140. Merck's gonna have a good day. It's crazy. It's up $3. Let's go. Okay, there's Slack and Amazon. Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, this is hilarious to me. Trump's promised farm bonanza from his deal with China is far from being fulfilled. Okay, but at the same time, that trade deal isn't being honored because we're in the midst of fighting with them over um, COVID. We're in the midst of fighting with them over Hong Kong, and Hong Kong was one that was pushed by the liberal left. Looks like we're gonna get a no-deal Brexit. I can't pronounce that. I don't know what those characters are, but thank you for following. I appreciate that. Um, let's see. Hong Kong's top finance says cities ready to defend the U.S. dollar peg system. I'll believe that when I see it. I didn't. I should be live on YouTube right now. I should be live on YouTube right now. Weird. Why is it not? It's on. It says there's nobody watching. That's the view on YouTube. Yeah, it says it's live. Hmm. It wasn't intentional. I'm not sure what's going on. Your channel. Okay, let's go to videos. Live. Yeah, it says I'm live right now. Details. Et voila. Live on YouTube. Weird. I wonder why it's doing that. VISL and MFA. Yeah, MFA is a pump. I'm gonna wait for it to dump. Um, this is penny stock. No analyst rating on it. News on like under $1 Visiting Technology stock. News. Mm, let's take a look here. When all I see is this financial analysis, it means that there is no news. So for me, as a fundamental trader, that's had no interest to me whatsoever. MNLO. Um, my thoughts are they're gonna drop an offering, so expect this thing to fall today. Um, yeah, they're putting out a public offering today, so expect this to decline. What was the offering? 30-day option, 15 shares, common stock. Um, there's no specifics on numbers, just that it's coming later today. So that's my thoughts on Menlo is that we can expect to see it decline in a very serious way. Um, we may be out of good news, but there's no bad news either. We were looking at the SPY. We were looking at the SPY, and it's up pre-market to 314. Like it bounced. It bounced. Is that the high of the week? 314. Yeah, yeah. It's got a new high on the week at 314 right now. So I'm not sure that we're going to see a red day. I think it's going to look like a fairly green endeavor. Yeah, I mean, the market just feels like it's in recovery, so people are gonna try to recover with it. Housing market's going to do well through the summer. You can believe with riots and protests happening in a city like this, Zillow is going to be a good play. Redfin's going to be a good play. People are going to look to get out of the cities. People are going to look to buy up property outside of the cities. What's my opinion on bets? Sport bet gaming ETF. My thoughts on bets is get out of the ETF and just trade DraftKings. That would be my opinion on this, guys. So I'll throw the disclaimer in here. What's up, Levi? Well, I mean, I'm gonna do something to make this a little bit better. I want to make this eventually look a little bit like this one, um, but I need to do some work on that today. I ended up streaming for Stock Guy yesterday, so while he was away, so I didn't get around to it. But I'm gonna eventually try to make this or this look like the one I usually use. It's just yeah. I'll put a thin border. I'll put a bar up here, and then I'll put some borders around this stuff, and that'll be it. But that way you guys can see what's going on a little bit better. Yeah, in regards to the betting ETF, I like this much better. Just take DraftKings. Would be my opinion on that. Um, over the weekend, who knows? Who knows? The big risk with the big thing that I've got with any of these ETFs at the moment is there's so many companies that are struggling through what's just happened. And my big concern, especially in the gambling industry, is the number of casinos that go belly up if we get a resurgence. So if we see another lockdown, um, the casinos go down, and any ETF that has them in it is going to go down with it. Whereas DraftKings, if the casinos go down, it's going to be fine. Um, that's my opinion on bets. Um, But that's my opinion on most ETFs. There's very few ETFs out there. Actually, I can't really think of an ETF out there where I wouldn't tell people just to look inside the ETF. Typically, how an ETF works, they bundle all of these companies together, but typically the companies that they bundle together, there's one or maybe two really strong stocks in there, and they bundle a whole bunch of other crap with it. And they throw it all together and say, here you go, here's this great ETF, and they hope that the two good stocks carry the bad stocks. But what happens is those two good stocks don't always perform, and the whole ETF suffers for it. Um, they're more heavily weighted. They place more focus on the performance of those than others. And that's not to say that you can't have outliers in the industry that are going to perform. But even if they perform because they're a smaller percentage of the holdings in the ETF, the ETF itself kind of comes down around it. So why don't we take a look at that here? So let's look at what the holdings are in bets. Okay, so this is a fun description. Sports betting and iGaming industries. So heavily weighted in DraftKings, no surprise there. Flutter and Gan, Points Bets, Canby, BetMakers, Penn, William, Kindred, Bet at Home. Okay, so what they do here is it looks like they've got an international. So this is gaming technology. So this is going to be for the casinos. This is gaming tech. This is gaming tech. This is casinos. Penn is slightly insulated because they've got online gambling, but it's still the bulk of their cash is from that. And this is at home gambling. Okay, so Ireland, Australia, Britain, Malta, Germany. My question would be, if you're going to trade this ETF, do you know what the gaming culture, the gambling culture is in those countries? One of the big things that you're going to have to watch, especially in the countries like Ireland, Britain, Malta, Germany, Premier League is huge. You're going to want to have Premier League up and running for sure, and you're going to want to know when that's taking place if you're going to play this ETF. Again, though, I don't know why you wouldn't just get in on DraftKings. These are their two heaviest players. If you only want one sports book, then DraftKings is there, and then GAN is there. But for me, I don't understand why you would pick up this stuff down here. Yeah, hopefully that helps. And most ETFs, that's the case. So people talk about all kinds of fancy ETFs, right? So, oh well, what about TAN? Because green energy is going to be good. TAN ETF holdings. It's like okay, so people like TAN because it's in a fancy industry, right? Um, but you do the same thing as you just go in and you find where the holdings listing is. Here. So not at all. So guys with tan, like people are like, oh look, solar energy is going to be so huge. It's like, okay, well, why would you trade the entire ETF that has potential dog crap in it when you can just trade solar edge technologies? They've got 11% of the portfolio in Sedge. So like, here it is, Sedge. And even that doesn't have a great price target, right? So, yep, that's where we at. Okay, what else are we looking at? Vu and Spy. Yeah, yeah, they're both just running away today. Bentley's in trouble. Yeah, Stocky is a major bull on tan. He is. For me, I'm always going to recommend, and I mean, the thing, ETFs are built for the passive investor. So if you're somebody who's working a full time day job, you don't have time to be breaking down every stock, although that took like what, 10 minutes to do. Add another hour for you to actually break down the top listed company and see how it's going to perform. I don't think it's a ton of work. I think that um, if you're not willing to put in any work, that's what ETFs are there for. Of like, well, I like this industry. How do I trade it? Here's an ETF. Um, but for anybody that wants to be a serious investor, take the time, break down the ETF, understand what's in it, and invest in the gains. Can we deep dive GE? Take a look at GE? Sure. Okay, so let's pull up, start with our chart. So General Electric is up over the past couple days because it's tied to airlines, guys. Um, over 10 years. So here's where GE was. Here's where GE is. This is 2017. They committed fraud. Back down, okay? So let's go to the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, since they hit that bottom, they have never broken above that $12 mark. Now let's go to the last 6 months. See that we had another massive decline in March that took us down here. I think that this level here, see where these all kind of cross this channel here? For me, that would be where I see them coming back. Somewhere in that range, that 10 to 11.50. So if that's enough gains for you, that $3, bueno. That's over 12 months, guys. All the projections that I'm going to give you guys are going to be over 12 months. Um, Now, problems and benefits with GE. So, GE in the news. So, General Electric has just sold off its lighting division, which is what started the business in 1892. You'll still see GE products, but the GE products will be built by another company, so they get to keep the logo on it. Um, Sold appliance businesses to Hair, a Chinese company. Going further back, it's its kitchen appliance branch. All it's got left is its aviation. Yeah, all it's got left is its aviation. So it's rising and falling on aviation news. So as the airlines recover, so too does. Yeah, it's all about plane engines. That's where GE is staking their flag and putting their last dollar. They're hoping they survive through. Yes, the story of the photographer who shot. Yeah, I do occasionally pop into the Biofarm Catalyst. Um, I do indeed use the Biofarm Catalyst. When I'm in here, what I'm looking for is companies that are in the range that I'm looking to trade. So something like NBRV here would be interesting. That's on the 19th. It's a low float stock. It's affordable. But I use this to start to have me looking elsewhere. Chris, I don't think in this market you should ever be holding over the weekend unless you're holding a play that is a year out, 18 months out. So my portfolio, I hold all the time, but I'm trading on a very different calendar than a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys are day trading or making options plays on weeklies and monthlies, and that's just not what I'm playing, right? Um, for me, you never know what Trump is going to say. You never know what OPEC is going to say. You never know what's going to happen with COVID. We might get a vaccine. We might get a mutation. You never know, and that for me is the big concern. So, um, hmm, really want to have that open. I hate that they do their maintenance first thing in the morning here, so it makes it difficult for me to show you guys my holdings. Okay, so Mercer is a hold into Q2 of next year. MBRX is a hold until it goes. ACRX is a hold into Q4 and beyond. IMMP is a hold probably until Q1. Um, iPix is just a meme, so I'll hold it as long as I think it's relevant. Probably until a finalized COVID decision that comes in, and then I'll exit from this. This will probably be a loss, to be honest. Um, MFA I'm out of. East, this is a long hold. This is a 2 year hold. So 2022 is what I'm looking at for East. CBDY is a 8 year hold, 10 year hold. This is a play into the U.S. economy opening up for international trade on pot and hemp products. That's a 10 year hold. Sev, this is a microsystem. This is a 12-month hold. This is a low float nothing. Waiter, this is into August. GameStop, this is into potentially Q4. So, yeah, potentially Q4. That is the TD Advanced Dashboard. So it's kind of like Thinkorswim. Um, yeah, I don't play options at all. Um, there are holdings that are in there from January that I have that still will probably perform pretty well, but ultimately, it's less than 1% of my portfolio. It's not a huge deal for me. So, um, let's head in here to stocks to watch and see if there's anything popping. If you guys want me to take a look at stuff, just let me know. We'll pop in there and see what's going on. Music has stopped. Vodafone's being pumped on its merger with Amazon or potential Amazon connection. Neo. So this is something I was showing people yesterday on the stream here, guys. Um, Whenever we are looking at a rise over the past, let's call it 5 business days, okay, 3 to 6, always pull out on 6 months. Okay, so look at this, right? Here's Neo. Here's Neo. Let's look at it on the year. There's a 52-week high that we're at here. Okay. Do I think that this thing is going to just continue to go? I think you see it lose steam. And the reason why I think that is because who is pumping Neo? Who's buying Neo? Right? People buying Neo are the Robinhood contingent. They're buying this thing up, and eventually this hits a price target that the Robinhood contingent isn't going to pay into. Um, Now, Neo breaks one of my major rules, which is it's an Asian-based stock. So, with it having no ties to the American economy, we've seen several companies be complicit in fraud. I think Neo eventually might be found to have that instance. Neo also still has to compete with Tesla. Just because it's domestic Chinese doesn't mean that it automatically wins against Tesla. Tesla's a big beast. So, I don't know. With Neo, I think this rise is unwarranted. It's kind of a flavor of the week thing. Price target at 640. Yeah, exactly. I think that this is a buyer beware, just like most of the Chinese stocks out there. It's a buyer beware. I don't know that you would run for it. Genus we looked at a little bit earlier. Genus has a fair market price, a fair market value of 50 cents to a dollar. It's currently trading at 687, but it did touch over 13 or 12 yesterday. With Genus, guys, this is an animation studio. This is just to be clear of what it is that people are trading here. Had a conversation with a couple of people yesterday that got heated. I asked them if they even knew what the stock was. They had no idea. Uh, so just to be clear, Genius Brands, this is an entertainment studio. The advantage that they have as the market reopens is that it's easier for them to create content. Um, they're pumping on the news that they may have a connection to Disney. It's up over 2,000% within a month. So he says this guy's saying shorting it's easy because people are buying into it, not knowing what it is, expecting it to just keep going. Yeah, it's just it's this article from June 4th. Leadership registered. Genius brand stock dives into the negative territory after registering for stock sales. Yeah, somebody dumped 60 million shares of this yesterday on the high, which is why it fell so hard. I have no idea why they're trading it if they don't know what it is. I don't know. And it's hard for me to read articles like that, that this is millennial traders that are chasing this. I think this is new traders to the market. It's not just millennials. There are lots of people that are trading these pump and dumps. Um, Arrow stock. Yeah, it's shadow trading. They don't do due diligence. They don't think about it. Arrows isn't something that I can trade. If this is what you want, Global Indian Entertainment Company, Arrows International. No, it's got okay. It's got an NYSE ticker. It's there. It sounds genius. Yeah, exactly. Um, so Arrows is an entertainment company that's using the Unreal Engine to develop its content. I mean, I don't like either of them. Like I don't like either of them. I'm not trying to be a boomer on it. I just yeah. That they paired with Epic Games is like, all right, whatever. It's not a huge deal. All right, let's see what's going on in the world, shall we? 'Again, guys, so many of these stocks that people threw out, a lot of them are in that tech sector, a lot of them are in that entertainment sector. Yeah, that's a big deal. So this is very interesting. So Novavax missed out on being part of Warp Speed, but it's getting $60 million to manufacture its vaccine. I don't know that that's the winner, boys, but it's up pre-market. So let's take a look at what this thing does and what the potential risks are, because the Novavax I didn't even give the time of day to outside of a cursory glance. So let's just let's go search Google here. Protein coronavirus vaccine. Okay, so it it's a not a steroid, but it boosts your body's immune system to try to fight off the disease on its own. They're only in phase 1, 2 of clinical trials, guys. We can't. I, I really need to stress this. It is so scary that we are rushing through this process and saying, "Well, we're just going to order 10 million doses." I know we haven't done a phase 1 or 2 trial yet. We haven't done a phase 3 trial. We're just going to skip steps as though that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant to what to the process because we need a vaccine now. You stand to mutate or kill a lot more than you are going to help by putting that thing out there. Just kind of crazy. We haven't heard anything on the US China trade deal lately, so there might be something there. All right, guys, my water is empty. I will be right back. 60 seconds. I will catch you then. I am live on YouTube. That's the interesting thing. So this is one of the things that we did earlier where it's like, okay, if I go to content, I go to live right now. I mean, is this going to make the difference? I am live. I am live on YouTube. Later. Take it easy. Get that sleep. Um, Okay, let's open up StockTwits and see if there's anything moving crazy pre-market. Oh, thank you for the follow, Nunu. Airlines are continuing to run. AL, UAL, Save, DAL. Cruise lines are running. Slack is down despite the news of Amazon. Genius is down because it's not worth what it's at. And Novavax is up. Yeah, Nicola's not sure what it's going to do today. I'll be watching Nicola throughout the day for sure. Uh, Trying to figure out. Maybe it's that it went up as unlisted. I'll have to figure out how to set that setting so that it's public moving forward. Um, that's the only thing I can think of. Okay. All right, guys. What else are we watching this morning? What are we looking at? Check out the Google Trends. See what's going on. World Cup. It's National Donut Day. Oh, yikes. Yeah, that's a career killer. Jake Paul was charged with a misdemeanor after looting a mall. Because the guy doesn't have enough money. He's got to be part of that stupidity. Oh, okay. So like this title is negligent. This title is negligent as always with mainstream media. What he is getting at is he's saying the law needs to be very specific as it's written. It doesn't need to be generic. It needs to be very specific so that anybody who gets bruised or an injury, no matter how temporary or small, would be subject to a 10-year penalty under this. Um, all that he's asking for the amendment is it would simply apply a serious bodily injury standard, which would ensure crimes resulting in substantial risk of death and extreme physical pain be prosecuted as lynching. So a bunch of kids at a high school, um, are hazing a kid and they all punch him in the arm. Is that a bad thing? No, but can they be charged for lynching and go to jail for 10 years? No, that's also not right. I don't think that this is unreasonable. I think this headline's garbage. Um, Kanye set up a scholarship fund for Floyd's daughter. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Merc is up $82. It's about to hit that 85 line that I had set for. That's fantastic. ACRX has it up at 140, which would be fantastic if we could open there. All right, let's see what else we got here. This dude played for 7 games with the Packers. 7. And he's claiming that he knows Rodgers. Rodgers is out there trying to make statements that are supportive. This is him standing in solidarity with his team. Oh, not cool. Yikes. Yikes. Craziness. If I was to choose between T and VZ, which would I go? Neither. I would go T-Mobile. If I had to choose between the two, I pick neither. It would be T-Mobile. T-Mobile's the leader for 5G. This would be the one I pick. If price point's the issue, you're not playing options. You're playing if you're playing equity, and this is kind of your price range, is that 30 to 50. I like T-Mobile a little bit. I like AT&T better than Verizon, but definitely I like T-Mobile better than either of them. Pen today, free market up 1.8%. I mean, it's on. So let's pull up the chart. Let's pull up the chart. So always look at the 6 months, guys. All right? Always look at the 6 months. That channel there. So 38 to 35 at its peak. That's where Penn was. If it goes beyond that, guys, it'll come back down. If it drops below, I think it'll come back up. Penn's just returning to where it was pre-COVID. That's all that's happening here. Didn't come out with any new products. There's nothing fancy about it. It's the same old thing it always was. People are just hyped on it. So I'd be watching at this point at 38.05. If it does continue to pick up steam, I'd be watching for it to actually decline. Come back down. What's up, Freezer Burn? What's up, Dice? How we doing, boys? What are you guys watching today? The new gambling ETF doesn't have it has pen in it, but it's and we looked at this earlier. Everybody's all about this thing, but it's not anything. Okay, here we go. Here's bets, guys. Um, 1.5. It's priced at $15. Okay. Here's what it's holding. Pen. It's got 4% of the entire portfolio is pen. Oh, okay. So the way ETFs work, guys, is people take a little bit of a whole bunch of different stocks from one industry, they pile them all together and sell that under a ticker. Okay. The reality is with most ETFs, if you're new to this, that's how ETFs work. But the reality is most ETFs, what they do is they go, okay, well, I want this good one and this good one and this good one, and we'll put those over here, and then I'll take all of this crap and I'll bring that over here and we'll bring the two together, and this makes the crap a little bit more valuable and this makes the good stuff a little bit less valuable, but they're all kind of bundled together, so it lets somebody who's lazy and doesn't want to do due diligence just kind of buy the gambling market. My huge issue with that is in the event that we have a resurgence in COVID, if we see sports get pulled down again, this has sportsbook from Ireland, sportsbook from Australia, sportsbook from Britain, sportsbook from Malta, sportsbook from Germany. If Premier League World Cup don't happen, this thing is worth nothing. Yeah, they are going to be under investigation from the FDA for that study. It shouldn't have been published. So what you want to do when you see an ETF like this announced is you want to actually go in. You want to break down what's in it. So there's a 7% holding in DraftKings. So does DraftKings get affected in the event that sports shut down again? Yes and no. Well, they will lose out on sports like pretty much everyone else. DraftKings actually has esports gambling, and at this point, gamblers are just looking to gamble. So if they're the only game in town because they've got esports contracts already, DraftKings stands to do well. So my argument is save up and instead of buying, 3 shares of bets, buy 1 share of DraftKings. You're going to see better results over the long run for it. These tech companies actually produce tech that goes into casinos. So a tech company in Malta and Australia, Britain, not interested. Really uninterested. Uh, Penn is up on this new ETF. I'm not hot on this new ETF at all. Oh, that's good. Okay, so Techie, that I figured out what it was then. It was unlisted when I went live, and I'm not sure why. So I'll make sure that it's not unlisted in the future when I go live, and that it's public, and hopefully you'll be able to find it now. Oh, not at all. So Neo, we went over a little bit earlier, but I'll do it again for you here. Let's pull up the chart so you can see. Appreciate the follows, guys. I really do. It means an awful lot. Makes waking up at 4:30 in the morning worthwhile. You know what I mean? Okay, Neo. So let's go down to Neo at the 2 days. At the minute, let's go to the 1 day. That's the wrong Neo. I was like, I know it moves more than this. Okay, so people are excited about Neo, and they're comparing it to Tesla. The reality is they got to compete against Tesla. They're behind the eight ball on it. Let's look at 6 months on Neo. Okay, it's at all-time highs, 52-week highs. 52-week highs. Okay. The highest it's ever been is $9. It looks like this $7 range is kind of where it lived for a while. So let's put the line up. I don't recommend anybody go anywhere near this. But you see that line there? 6, $7. All right. But I just don't like any company that's completely based in Asia. It's too much. It's too much. It's a big concern. These guys can and possibly are committing fraud already. Um, and I don't know how many times this has to happen where we see something like Luckin Coffee happen and you lose it all, right? Like I just don't want this to happen to you guys is all. The Freedom Seagull is here. The Freedom Seagull is here. All right. What else are we looking at here? Airlines, cruise lines. Our Slack is down, even though Amazon's there. Genius is down again. Again, guys, Genius has a value. It's Goss's alt account. Sweet. Um, yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's kind of blowing my mind here. As far as SVM, so these are four tickers that I've got set up. Active stocks, both the upside and the downside. So it kind of gives us a feel for what's moving early in the day. FTSI, silver, metals, Radiant, Protolix, Contango, Franklin, gold, silver. NAK has 6 million volume already. A lot of minerals in here. A lot of metals and minerals. What's up, Abhishek? SVM. This may be a potential short. They keep claiming. All right, so this is a good example of Phillipson. With MGM, should you keep your calls over the weekend? Before I give you my insights, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. So what do you think? Why should you or should you not, whatever you're leaning towards, keep MGM over the weekend? What are your thoughts? Let me understand your process first. Let's pull up the chart on MGM here. So that's one of the big differences from this stream, this broadcast to other people that are out there doing financial stuff, guys. I'm not looking to spoon feed you. I want to teach you to do this, right? I want to teach you guys to be able to look at this and process this and come up to your own decisions, essentially making myself useless in this process. I'm always here as a sounding board, but I want to teach you to fish. I don't want to tell you what plays should take. I don't want to tell you what your exit should be, right? I want you guys to be able to wrestle this and learn how to do this process so that you're a stronger trader at the end of the day. Um, so that's a great question. Let me know when you've got it. We can take a look at MGM here though for you, and let me know when you've got kind of what your feelings and thoughts are on it. So let's go for the last 10 days here. MGM has risen from 16 ish to 21. So this is a casino play, guys. MGM is one of the casino plays out there. It is brick and mortar casino. 1650 to 21 in 10 days. If we go pull out to the 6 months, it was up around 32. Okay, so there's an interesting thought. Do the protests affect casinos? Okay, so let's find out. Protests in Las Vegas. That's a big deal when it says without incident. 7 nights of protests. Fewer than 100 people in the crowds. So it looks like it's insulated from protests. So I don't know that protest is going to affect it. So with that out of the way, I don't want to dive too much deeper until we see. Where did the comic go there? It's weird. My restream chat is doing some funny business. Phillipson. Any thoughts? The protests are almost empty. That's why you got a deep dive. Different protests in different cities, right? New York would be a different thing, but it's not New York. MGM's based in Las Vegas. They only had 40 people show up for the protest last night. Even if over the weekend they get bigger numbers, um, even if they've got bigger numbers, you always have to go deeper than just protests. So even though they may have bigger numbers over the weekend on protests, it seems to not matter. There's been no violence all week except for Monday, but things calmed down after that. So with MGM, even though there was violence, there's no looting, there's nothing in regards to casinos. Yeah, so playing this into Q4 is definitely a different play than playing this over the weekend. So if you're asking about a call that's in the next weekend, you've got to think about, okay, what's the timeline on this? I doubt we see a second lockdown over the weekend, unless there's an unexpected mutation and they just shut everything down. But I very much doubt that that's there. So um, in reality, Q4, I think that's a huge risk for Eastwood. And I think that's good DD, where in Q4, there's a huge potential for a resurgence in COVID or a mutation, COVID 20 instead of COVID 19. There's a lot of different things that could happen, right? So, yeah, definitely if you're playing this into Q4, it's a different play. But into next week, it's a different beast. It's just a different beast. Yeah, but with 40 people, it's a significantly smaller protesting group than something like New York, for sure. Revolve Clothing. I don't know Revolve Clothing. What is Revolve Clothing? Is Revolve Clothing a stock? Oh, they're prepping an IPO. Revolve IPO. RVLV is the ticker on it. Okay, RVLV. Let's take a look. All right, up 6% pre-market news. It's on its earnings. No? Tools, recent, past 24 hours. Hmm. RVLB. Decent growth. So you guys are probably getting used to the pattern that I'm checking, right? I want to see where they were pre-COVID. It looks like pre-COVID, during the boom, they were somewhere around there. Is there room for this to go back up? Absolutely. I would set it somewhere around that target. It looks like it wants to trade this channel. So 20 to where it currently is. Up and down, back and forth between that. Now, it is a retail sector, so I'm not huge on retail. Not a huge fan of the concept right now. It's definitely not a sector I would play in or recommend people start getting their plays in. So if you're new to the market, I don't know that retail is where you want to be. Yeah. I don't. So that's great thinking. So that's great that you broke that down, Phillipson. What would it take for MGM to absolutely blow it up over the weekend? I mean, they would have to come out with some record numbers or something, and people just still aren't going outside. Even though the protests aren't huge in Las Vegas, people still just aren't going outside. There's no massive rebound in the sector. So, I mean, My thoughts and my opinion on it are, without a major impetus for growth, you're not really going to get a ton of news over the weekend. It's a nothing weekend as far as MGM is concerned. Um, I wouldn't expect a ton of movement over the weekend. And if anything, you're more likely to see bad news drop over the weekend than good news, right? So I would lean to the bearish side on it over the weekend, which means I would probably put it at a. My opinion would be it's not necessarily got that upside to it. So that's one of the things that I do, guys, when I'm looking at stocks is like, what's the potential to the up or down? Yeah, we all know stocks go up and down. Great, fantastic. Okay, so let's go back to MGM here. So it's had some decent gains over the last, let's go 10 days. It's had some decent gains over the last 10 days. Is there potential, a greater potential for this to move back down a little bit to this range, this 2050 range? Yeah, I think there's a greater potential for it to come down here than for it to go up here to the 23, $24. And that's my opinion. You could have we could be on completely different pages with that, but I think that the opportunity for it to head down and deflate a little bit after a 10-day rise like this is there. It's there. Again, humble opinion. At the moment, nobody cares about the financial results of any company. They just don't. We're seeing earnings come out that are abysmal, but so long as people are saying we see hope in the future, people are buying up the stock. So right now, financials mean very, very little for me. What I'm playing is the news and the media. That's what I know. That's always been my play and my slant is understanding that. I think we see recovery into Q4. That's when flu season starts back up again. Let's see if I can find you guys the video here. YouTube, Maslow's hierarchy trading. Martini. No, that's not the one. Mm, stocks, Martini, Rita. There it is. That video there, guys, is going to help you in a huge way. This is Martini Rita and myself breaking down how Maslow's hierarchy is going to apply to the market re-emerging and recovery. It is done with the caveat of in COVID. Well, actually, it's a strategy regardless of what the market does, but it helps you understand where the market currently is as far as psychology and sentiment, and understanding that the news will make it flow one way or the other. So, what happens when the country gets fearful? It typically moves people back down the pyramid towards the base. What happens when the country gets optimistic and hopeful and the greed starts to come up? It moves further up the pyramid. So let's go to the greed fear index. Okay. If you guys haven't seen this, this is a very useful tool. Um, this is giving you an indication of where the market currently is. Um, Sup, Dunhill. I'm ambidextrous, so oftentimes I will actually be fiddling my pen in my right hand while I'm typing away on the keyboard with my left. Uh, I do it with both, so I am left hand dominant though, so that's why I wear my my watch on my left hand. But yeah, so fear greed index, guys. What this does is it breaks down certain trends in the market. Uh, and it says, okay, so are people looking at safe havens and bonds? No. Are they looking at put and call options? Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. We're in extreme greed. Greed. Market volatility is neutral. Junk bond demand is neutral. Stock price strength is neutral. Market momentum is still in fear. This is the last thing that needs to recover. But look at week over week. A month ago, we were at 43. A year ago, we were at 29. Right now, we're in a greed mode, and we are headed towards extreme greed, which means that we are moving up that hierarchy. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I am just showing off. Um, Face coverings are mandatory in England. Well, that's no good. That's unbelievable. Um, Opinion on MDB. Yeah, let's pull up MDB here. Yowza, this is a big beast. What does this thing do? What does this thing do? News. MongoDB. Yeah, that's exactly it, Dunhill. He's not dead. Serious but stable condition. Like when I say corpse, I mean obviously there's somebody bleeding out of the back of their skull. That the officers just continue to move forward instead of dealing with that is yeah, great. The guy radioed in, but nobody is checking vitals. Nobody is got a pressure up against the bleeding on the back of the skull. Like these are simple things. That's absolutely unbelievable what I just saw. Uh, okay, price target of high, low of 105. This looks like it has a lot of risk to the downside. A lot of risk to the downside. Goldman wants it to die, which means it should be positive, but 203, 275, 259, 226, 240. I think where it is reasonable. Um, I'd be cautious about the recovery in Europe. I'd be cautious about that. Just because it's a week where you're getting stimulus spending news, be very cautious about Europe. And to be clear, like take a look at the SPY, right? Take a look at the SPY. SPY is doing just fine. What's going on here in the States does not affect the economy. Thoughts on VTIQ? VTIQ, which is now NKLA, is absolute garbage. It's absolute garbage. I did a full breakdown of their 10K filing. Martini did one again last night. Both of us came to a consensus that this thing is hot garbage. It is a dumpster fire waiting to explode all over everybody. Um, so this was supposed to be its big day. This is supposed to be its big day yesterday. Opened at 33.75. No, that's not right. 37.65 was the open. Close 33.75. This is first day on the market and it's already headed down. I Yeah, there's nothing I liked about TVIQ. Absolutely nothing. The entire thing was just a giant red flag for me. Um, so be very very cautious with that. Free market, it looks like it's had a little bit of recovery, but there's no volume. No volume whatsoever. All right, what else we got going on here? Head back to StockTwit, see if there's any changes to the top board. Nobody popping huge. No major news yet today. I wonder if we have. Okay, that's a pharma lawsuit. Oil in the next 6 months. Oil ETN. USO. Yeah. Okay, so 5 days, 6 months. I don't think we see it come back up here for a while. There's people that are saying that we're going to come right back up to this line. I don't think so. This took years to get up here. Um, I think what's more realistic is somewhere around this line over 12 months. Um, so over 12 months, I could see it coming back up to there at the low, maybe there. So 50, 40, 50. So there's 100% potential there. Yeah. Yeah, 45, 55 is a reasonable target for 12 months. You have to pair with it as well that even once travel resumes, international travel is going to take even longer, and as well, people are starting to get real serious about eco green energy. That's been a running story throughout all of this. Spy's giving back some of the gains that it had earlier, so we're at 313.60 right now. Um, Okay, so with Hertz, guys, the way that Hertz goes is Hertz is all about airports. Okay, that's where the majority of the rentals are going to come in is through airport travel. So what you need to be watching with as a metric, could it come back to this $3, $4 mark? I think so. I think so. But its finances are not in line yet. Icon removed his entire position from it because he sees in the long term that it's just not viable and it can fall out from under itself just as easily again. I'd be very, very careful with this. I'd be tight on it. Have tight entries, tight exits. What's Hertz doing pre-market here? Yeah, it's up to $1.93. Be super careful with it. Super careful. What's up with GME today? It's back up to 430. It fell to 425. It gave us a sneak peek on its earnings coming up. I did break that down earlier, but let's find it again. Okay, so exchange offer and consent solicitation, what they're trying to do is get people to move notes that become due from 2021 to 2023. If they can get them to do this, this will be fantastic for GameStop. Um, so they've got 414 million in notes coming due in 2021. Um, they're looking for people holding those notes to push it back at a better rate. So, what 6.75% due in 2021 will now be 10% notes 2023. So if they can push back this debt payment, that would be fantastic for them. They do have the cash on hand to pay it, so it's not a huge deal. Their preliminary results came out. Some of the takeaways were 76% of the company's stores were temporarily closed in March. Company closed all of its U.S. locations, with 65 conducting limited curbside pickup. Um, as of right now, 48 remain fully closed. A lot of people say, well, isn't that a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing. If they're closed, they're not paying people. They're not paying for these. Half of their stores in the US, which is great for their bottom line. Australia stayed open throughout. They saw a 35% increase in sales. The issue is total global sales are expected to decrease in the range of 35%. This is what has people running. They didn't read the entire thing, they just saw this. So they're saying, well, 33 to 35% reduction in global sales are expected. That's just sales, though. That's not the bottom line. So what you have to consider is, okay, well, what does that look like? What does that mean? Um, what does that mean as far as a 33 to 35% decrease, right? So instead of 1.5 billion, they did 975 million in sales. So they still did 975 million in sales. Okay, but remember what happens on the bottom line is you've got to consider the rest of their costs as well. So one of the things to look at with this for GameStop and why I'm so diamond hands on this thing is um, cash flow from operations is expected to be negative 49 million compared to negative 665 million. That's huge. That's huge. So the gap from 1.5 billion, so 1500. So there's about a $525 million gap between their sales last year and the sales this year for the quarter. Okay, so 525 million. But between their costs, the 49 and what are they saying here? Approximately $671 million lower in costs. So let's take 671 million and put it against that 525 million that they went down in sales. That puts them net positive 100 million bucks, right? Inventory on hand, I imagine they'll do the same thing that everybody's doing and just claim the inventory as an asset, which counts towards them. They still have 570 million in cash on hand. So it's down because people read this, but they didn't read the rest. I think we're still in for a surprise beat on their earnings. Tis my thought. Tis my thought. What do you guys think? What do you think about that? You think I'm crazy? Think I'm nuts? Go off my rocker here on GameStop? I don't think so. Even this, so they're expected to be down 79 million. It's a 100 million gap between the two. They're still up. They're still up. Remember what was expected on GameStop's earnings is they're expected to just blow. Downward revision after downward revision after downward revision. I don't know. Negative 73. Last quarter they were up $1.20. Down negative 73. I think they should beat. I think they should beat. From what I'm seeing there, from what I'm seeing in this early prospectus, also if they can get news of this exchange offer and consent approved before their earnings, June 17th is the date on these. So they'll know June 17th. So for me, this just gives me another day where I see potential in this, right? If they can get news out ahead of time that they were able to get the majority of these pushed to 2023, that means that they've got a whole heck of a lot less debt in 2021, making them look like a stronger prospect heading in. So, I mean, I still like it. Still like it. I know GameStop is one of those ones that make me look like an absolute nutter, but I see it. I am super impressed with Turkey. They've made a lot of really smart moves over the duration of this thing. Um, I wonder if I can just disable. Okay, so let's go back to that. I think there's a way that I can still see that. Um, I guess I don't have to go too deep into it. Turkey's done some phenomenal stuff, guys. Turkey has refused to take international aid. They've been working diligently to get their market back up on their own means. And as a result, they're seeing strength, which makes them more appealing to international investors. But right now, what we're seeing is locals are the ones that are lifting it up, which is great. It's going to be very attractive to international dollars coming in. Just brutal. All right, latest news. Bombardier is going to die. It's gone. It's a done deal. Slide Therapeutics, mixed shelf, expected to fall. I don't know. It feels like a pretty slow Friday. Normally there's some big news or something. Trump hits the Twitter something. Where's the news? Where's the Friday morning? This is what's gonna happen. I don't know. All right, guys, it's 7 a.m. It's been a blast. 4:30 to 7. That's my gig. I will see you guys tomorrow at noon. We'll be doing the typical breakdown that I usually do. Saturdays at noon, taking a look at the week that's passed, the plays that I took, where I'm going for the week ahead. It's only going to be about an hour, so I will catch you guys then. Rerun is about to follow here. Huge shout out to everybody that followed on or who was watching on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube today as well. Big shout out to you guys. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.